Lisa from Mobile Tech Review, and today we're going to look at the Acer Aspire S5. This is a high-end Ultrabook. Acer's really stepping up their game here. Nice quality components, very thin, 0.44 inches at the thinnest point, 2.65 pounds, so incredibly light, 13.3-inch display. And it has the nifty Magic Flip, a little door on the back that pops open to show you your ports. And, well, no, you don't actually go yank and do it. It does it for you. Even if it's turned off, press a little button, and there it is, a set of ports. And while the Magic Flip might make it nifty, it doesn't make it high-end. What makes it high-end is it has a 1.9 gigahertz Intel Core i7 CPU and a 256 gig SSD. So you're getting the top components there. Usually in the food chain of choosing your configurations, this would be at the high end. As a result, it lists for $13.99. And we're going to look at it now. So the Acer Aspire S5 really ups the ante from the S3, which was one of the kind of more bargain basement-y Ultrabooks. When the first generation of Ultrabooks came out, they went with regular conventional hard drives with a little SSD to assist them, plastics in the casing. This is much more premium product, as it should be. This is $13.99 list price. This is not cheap. Of course, with the money, you get the kind of top-of-the-line specs. A lot of Ultrabooks start out with a Core i5 and a 128 gig SSD, or even now a conventional spinning hard drive. This guy gets you the top-of-the-line specs, which is a 256 gig SSD that benchmarks very quickly, 4 gigs of RAM, that's pretty much standard on Ultrabooks, and a 1.9 gigahertz Intel Core i7 ULV CPU. Third generation Ivy Bridge here, that's a 3517U CPU. Fast performer, it does very well in benchmarks. Also very, very nice looking. At its thickest point, it's only 0.59 inches, making it one of the thinnest Ultrabooks on the market. Thinnest point is 0.44 inches. Weighs 2.65 pounds, so we're talking right up there with the Toshiba Portage Z835 and Z935, which are very light, but more flimsy feeling. This guy feels quite rigid. Now, if you try really hard, you might be able to flex it some, but strong stuff. Very nice finish, kind of a brushed metal black finish here. Does pick up fingerprints. Ah, well, not too badly, but you're going to have to wipe it down once in a while. Nice little cutout here so you can actually grab it and open up without too much effort. Here's the bottom. And if you want to access the internals, you have to remove many very small Phillips head screws. That was about 8 or 10 of them. We did not take this apart because one of the screws on our review unit is stripped, so it couldn't be removed, but pretty much this is designed to be not terribly upgradable. I think the RAM is soldered on the motherboard, for example. If you notice this interesting plate here and you're wondering what that's for, well, that is for the Magic Flip on the back, and we'll show you that in a minute. First, here are the stereo speakers, not bad sound. Little rubber feet. Right over here we have our headphone jack. On this side, this is the SD card slot, and we've got a little blank protecting the hole so you don't get junk inside of it, and that's your power button on the side instead of on the keyboard deck where we more often see it. On the back here we have the power jack. Nothing else, but you see masking over here for a variety of ports and some vents here, and these are marked HDMI to USB 3.0 Thunderbolt. Very unusual on a PC notebook, and we're going to test that with Apple's 27-inch Thunderbolt monitor to see how that works. Just about instant resume times from sleep there. They claim 1.5 seconds. Certainly it's not taking any more than that, and if it's in deep sleep, they say it'll take 6 seconds. Also, they claim 80 days of standby. Kind of crazy, isn't it? Claim battery run times are a lot shorter, though, 6.5 hours, and so far in our tests we're doing about 5.5 hours, which isn't super stunning for an Ultrabook, but it's not too bad. But getting back to those ports on the back, there's a little button right here, which you might think was your power button at first, but it's not. This is the Magic Flip button. You press that and you're going to hear a motorized sound. You're going to notice this raise up just a little bit. And it's going to show us a mirroring of the ports that are on the back here. Cute little software trick. That does go away. Don't worry, you're not going to be staring at that forever. So what just happened is the so-called Magic Flip opened up, and you can see we've got a little bit of a wedge here, so it raises the typing height. And on the back, there are our ports. Again, 2 USB 3.0 ports, a full-size HDMI port, and our Thunderbolt port. Allows for a little bit added ventilation. There are little vents on the side. There's another additional vent here. I, however, find the fan noise is actually a little bit louder. I guess it changes the flow internally, so you will hear a little bit more fan noise. Now, this is a pretty neat parlor trick, isn't it? Even if it's turned off, you can operate that and open it or close it. And supposedly, it knows if something's plugged into the ports, which PCs do know if something's plugged into their ports, and it won't automatically close it when it shuts down if something's plugged into it or if it goes to sleep. If it does go to sleep or it is shut down, it will automatically eventually close this little door. I won't go so far as to say this is an answer to a problem nobody had, because, well, you know how it is. You stick something in your bag, you travel around, before you know it, you've got lint, dust bunnies, other nasty things getting in your port, so it's kind of nice to have a way of closing it. However, I think I'd be happy if it just had a kind of door that I myself operated without the motors. It seems like something that's just bound to have problems. Now, maybe it'll last forever, I don't know. It seems like a pretty strong motor. It's strong enough to lift up the laptop and defy gravity there, but, well, that is what it is. It's kind of neat looking at first anyway, that's for sure, and that is called the Magic Flip. You'll notice there is no built-in Ethernet port. That's still a relative rarity on Ultrabooks. We recently looked at the HP Envy Spectre XT. That's an exception. That has gigabit Ethernet. And the Toshiba Portage Z835 and Z935 have Ethernet, but other than that, you usually won't see it. If you get yourself a ZenBook Prime, you'll get a USB Ethernet adapter in the box. This does not come with one, but you can go buy one at an electronics store. It does come with an HDMI to VGA adapter for those of you who need VGA. That's in the box. And you get a Bluetooth mouse. Acer loves to include mice, so we got our 2 AA batteries in the bag here, and one shiny black Bluetooth mouse. And the machine comes with a compact charger made by Lighteon, so that won't take up too much room or create too much weight in your bag. Rounding out the features, 1.3 megapixel webcam up here, and we have a 1366 by 768 glossy LED backlit display. That's pretty much standard resolution on Ultrabooks. Those of you who like high-res Ultrabooks, well, you're going to have to look elsewhere. It's not here. And viewing angles, not so good on this. I really wish Ultrabook manufacturers would start stepping up the quality of the panels. For these $1,000 and above machines, I expect something with really good viewing angles. So this is a typical, you got to tilt it forward, tilt it back to get the best contrast. Once you find the sweet spot, it's not bad. It's reasonably nice watching movies, but certainly nothing exceptional. And for $1,400, I'd like a little more exceptional. Beyond the display, though, everything else is, again, pretty much premium. Very nice keyboard. It's an Ultrabook. It's super thin. You're not going to have a lot of key travel here. Very nice to use. I even managed to stick in a teeny-weeny little embedded arrow pad over here. You've got your usual FN row up here. You will use the FN to use the alternate functions up here, like turning your wireless on and off. Those kind of controls, or using your brightness and volume controls, which are over here. No backlighting on the keyboard, though. Big bummer there. We have an Elan trackpad here. Now, sometimes Elan can be a little bit flaky, particularly when they appear on ASUS products, but this has actually worked quite well. It's large, it's roomy, it just has a little bit of texture, so it's not too slippery. Multi-fingered scrolling works just fine, so all in all, nice trackpad here. Okay, now we've got something really cool here. This is one of the few Windows PCs that actually has a Thunderbolt port, and we've got it plugged into the Apple 27-inch Thunderbolt display right here. You can see, looking beautiful, looking large. And it all just works just fine. We have it in extended mode, which means we can use both of these simultaneously. So we have Word document open on the notebook display, and we have a web browser open on the Thunderbolt display. So you can see we've got full control. It looks nice. It responds perfectly. We can do the shoot it out, make it big, close it up. It works. Nice. One thing that is noticeable, and you might even start to hear it in our video coming through to you, is the fan is kind of noisy. I'm looking at the CPU temperatures using Core Temp to measure the CPUs. Whenever it goes above about 45 degrees centigrade, it starts kicking those fans on. Now, maximum temperature is 105. Not that you ever want to see your CPU really getting that hot, and you'll see thermal throttling in most machines at 80 degrees centigrade and above. But that's maybe a little overzealous there for fan action, so it gets pretty noisy, and like I said, when the Magic Flip is deployed, it's actually a little bit noisier. For an Ultrabook, I found it kind of distracting. Now, if you're just doing MS Office work, you'll hear it cycling on and off. It'll be certainly audible, but not deafening. But if you're doing something like playing some streaming video on YouTube, especially something HD quality, it'll come on more often, and if you're playing games. And given the 1.9 gigahertz CPU here, and the relatively competent Intel HD 4000 graphics, you can do some gaming on this. Now, don't expect awesome performance in Crysis 2 or something like that, but if you want to play Batman Arkham City at native resolution at low settings, it'll work. In terms of synthetic benchmarks, it does very well. One of the quickest benchmarking Ultrabooks we've seen so far. 13,190 on PC Mark Vantage. Nice there. So you get some speed for your money. And on 3D Mark Vantage, which obviously measures 3D performance and gaming performance, 3,300 for the Intel HD 4000 with the ULV CPU. That's a very good number, and that's why you can do things like play Batman Arkham City on low settings at native resolution. And other games too, Left 4 Dead 2, that kind of thing. It's going to work just fine. You can see our Windows Experience Index here. 7.1 for the CPU, with 7.9 being the maximum for all these currently. 5.9 for RAM, which is what we often see on Ultrabooks. 5.9 for desktop graphics for Aero. 6.5 for 3D gaming graphics, and 7.9 for the SSD. Now the SSD is not volunteering information about itself in Device Manager, but it's a very fast SSD that benchmarked about as fast as we've seen among the fastest Ultrabooks, including the Asus ZenBook Prime UX31A with the faster ADATA SSD drive, so you're getting a fast SSD here. Speaking of the SSD drive, again, it's 256 gigs, so that's enough space to get stuff done and even carry some multimedia files with you. And ours had about 183 gigs available for your use. The recovery partition takes up some space, and so on. And there's also the equivalent of a hibernation partition that copies the contents of RAM to the SSD to speed up resume times. Machine has dual band Wi-Fi. This is Atheros Wi-Fi, not Intel, so that means you don't get Intel WiDi wireless display. It is, however, dual band, 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz, and in our tests it performed well for throughput and for signal strength. You also get Bluetooth 4.0 with the machine, so nicely equipped there. It's not just synthetic benchmarks that are fast here. The machine just feels very responsive when you use it. Applications launch super quickly. They're very responsive. IE just runs like a champ, scrolls nicely, no problems with performance here. Certainly very capable for MS Office applications, web browsing, email, streaming video playback. You can even play locally stored video if you want. Netflix, all that kind of stuff is going to work well. Still, I wouldn't pick an Ultrabook if you do a lot of HD video editing. That's what you do for a living, that kind of thing. But for casual Photoshop use, for software development, coding, that kind of stuff, it's going to work just fine. So now we're going to check out YouTube video playback. We'll look at the HP Envy Spectre XT video review, and you can hear the speakers too, since this has Dolby audio on those dual speakers. We'll go up to 720p since that's highest the display supports. From Mobile Tech Review, and today we're looking at the that's half volume. Super rich sounding, no, but for a small Ultrabook, loud and not hissy, not annoying. The video's playing back just fine. So certainly not bad if you want to sit down and watch a movie and you don't have the headphones handy. Sound out through the headphones is quite nice, however, and you can plug in external speakers if you want to, and combo headphone mic too if you want to use Skype. Text is very clear. I know I've given the display a hard time for its limited viewing angles, but really it's pretty good and sharp here for reading text. So as long as you find the sweet spot, it's good. Now, Ultrabooks usually have pretty light software loads. Number one, because their ULV CPUs are not quite as bright as full mobile CPUs, and because they have small SSDs. That didn't stop Acer from glomming a lot of stuff on here. I mean, Acer always has all their own, their Clear.fi utilities, their cloud syncing, their multimedia player, that kind of stuff. So that's always going to be there, and that is what it is. It works, it's fine. We've got other stuff too. We've got, my goodness, I feel like I'm going back about 6 years in time to Windows Vista bundles. We've got eBay shortcut icon right here. We have Netflix pre-installed. We have Skype pre-installed. And we've got it all on our desktop. Of course, there's actually more than what you see on the desktop. Here we had antivirus, McAfee, we had Norton Online Backup. Boy, just an awful lot of stuff here. You can happily remove whatever you want, obviously, but it's kind of nice if you don't have to. And wait, there's more. We have Foo's Kids. We have McAfee Anti-Theft. We have Acer's Crystal Eye Webcam Manager, which you actually don't need. That's just if you want to do cute tricks with your webcam. Bluetooth software suite, that's actually useful. We have Nook on here as well. And Evernote. So, I bet you could probably get yourself about 5 gigs back maybe if you uninstall this stuff that you're not going to be using. So that's the Acer Aspire V5, available now. Again, $13.99 list price. You might find it for a little bit cheaper on an online retailer, or maybe even in a bricks and mortar store. Acer has done a nice job of picking up the quality. It's no more, well, it's cheaper, but it's plasticky, and there are these drawbacks. Everything here is really nice in terms of hardware. I love the design. It's very attractive looking. And, you know, even if the Magic Flip is a little bit of a gimmick, hey, it's kind of a cool gimmick, isn't it? And it keeps your ports protected. Decent, not great display on here, 13.3 inch, 1366 by 768 again. Nice keyboard, no backlighting, unfortunate. Good trackpad. Elegant looking and super duper portable, thin and light and solidly built. It's good stuff. I'm Lisa from Mobile Tech Review. Visit our website for the full review of the Acer Aspire S5, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel.